My name is Nora Parker. I am 34. 10 years ago, my younger sister left her 3-month-old baby on my doorstep in a cold Austin rain and disappeared. My parents told me the baby was my burden now. I took that tiny girl and named Lily and raised her as my own. This spring, my sister came back with our parents and sued to take Lily away. On the first morning of that hearing, I handed the judge a sealed folder. The room went quiet. The judge looked over her glasses and asked if they even knew what I had. I nodded once and waited. In my family, favoritism is a tradition. My sister Ava breaks rules. My parents call it creativity. I ask for help. They call it learning responsibility. When I begged them to come over the night Lily arrived, they refused. When I worked late and did telehealth after bedtime to afford diapers and therapy, they called me dramatic. When the crisis hit, they did worse. They stood beside Ava and tried to erase the only mother Lily has ever known. They had no idea what I was building while I kept my mouth shut. I logged every call. I saved every text. I learned the school privacy policies by heart. I studied the Texas Family Code. I tracked brand deals they bragged about online. I learned which board oversees Trent's counseling license. I built a record that did not shout. It only showed the truth page by page, date by date. When they realized how deep that record went, it was too late. This is not revenge. This is respect boundaries and the best interests of a child. It is what happens when you choose facts over noise and consistency over chaos. Subscribe before you hear the ending that turned a custody fight into a reckoning, and the moment a sealed folder changed everything. I grow up in North Austin, where every weekend feels like a meeting. My dad, Gordon, runs the HOA vice chair like a second job. My mama, Lane, is a deaconess at church and treats every potluck like a performance review. I learn early that I am the reliable one. I set out folding chairs, I bring extra ice, I send follow-up emails with bullet points and times. My sister Ava is the golden child. She breaks rules and my parents call it creativity. I follow rules and they call it bare minimum. I can measure the favoritism in dollars and dates. In May 2012, I ask for help with my nursing board costs. The NCLEX fee is $315. The Texas license application is $106. Fingerprints and a background check are $80. My mom says learning responsibility will make me a better nurse. That July, my parents surprise Ava with a used hatchback. $18,400, plates and insurance are included. They call it an investment in her potential. In November 2000, Ava calls from California crying from a loud street in San Diego. She says she needs help. My dad wires $1,500 by 9 the next morning. When I ask for $200 to enroll in an extra pediatric pharmacology course, the hospital recommends. He says professional development is my choice, not a family burden. In March 2010, my parents pay $23,000 for a private wellness retreat so Ava can reset. I hear the number from a friend at church who heard it from my mother. That spring, I buy a second-hand couch for $280 cash. My parents say the pattern looks tired. I am used to being useful. I am the person with the phone charger, the spare Band-Aids, and the printed directions. I sit with neighbors in the emergency department at 2 in the morning. I build spreadsheets for meal trains. I hold crying toddlers while a doctor explains stitches. At work, I am a pediatric ICU nurse at Central Texas Children's. 12-hour shifts, beeping monitors, vent settings, and careful notes. I love the precision. I love the quiet breath after a child stabilizes. By October 2000, I am 24 on day shifts most weeks, and dating Mason, an architect I meet through friends. We talk about moving in after the holidays. Then a Tuesday rain comes down like a sheet, and the doorbell rings twice. It is 9:30. A car seat sits on my mat, wet around the edges of a thin blanket. Inside is a 3-month-old with dark hair. There is a folded note. 7 words. Her name is Lily. I cannot do this. Take care of her. I am sorry. I call my parents. My mother says we told her not to have that baby. My father says she is your burden now. Then they hang up. I call Mason. He says call social services. I ask him to grab diapers and formula from a 24-hour store. He says this is not our problem, and he does not come. I put Lily back in her car seat and drive to the 24-hour supermarket on Burnett Road. A night clerk named Marisol helps me pick formula marked for 3 months and up. I pay $126.48. We go home. I warm a bottle in a saucepan. I line a dresser drawer with towels and make a crib. I sleep in pieces. The next morning, I file a police report. The officer explains that a mother can leave a baby with a family member. There is no crime to pursue. I call a family lawyer and learn about temporary guardianship. It will take time and money. Within 2 weeks, I move from my 1-bedroom to a small 2-bedroom in Brentwood so Lily can have a room. First month rent is $1,500. The deposit is $1,500. A secondhand crib is $100 from a neighbor who is moving. I shift to 30 hours a week and stay on day shifts when I can. I find a home daycare run by Teresa Santiago, $225 a week. I label every receipt and slide them into a clear sleeve in a green binder. At night, I remind myself that I am a mandated reporter and a careful charting nurse. I start charting my life with the same discipline. I log every call to my parents and their exact words. I save every text. I scan the note from Ava and store it in a plastic sleeve. I keep a timeline that begins with the Tuesday rain in October 2000 and adds new lines each week. It feels clinical, but it calms me. Facts are solid when people are not. My parents show up 3 or 4 times in the first year. They hold Lily like she might break. They say my apartment looks cluttered. They tell me I look tired. They never bring diapers. They never wash a bottle. They ask if I have heard from Ava. I say if I learn anything, you will be the first to know. The truth is, I have stopped asking. Their answers do not help. Their visits make Lily quiet. I learn to plan something bright after they leave, like a walk to the park or a visit to Mrs. Santiago's porch to water her plants. My coworkers save me more than once. A month after Lily arrives, the unit throws a baby shower. Diapers stacked like a tower, a used stroller in perfect condition, gift cards tucked into a card that says we have your back. Teresa helps me set up a bedtime routine and the miracle of a white noise app. We build Friday movie nights with popcorn in a big bowl and Sunday mornings at the small park down the street. I take photos by date and drop them into a folder called Lily First Year. I print a few and tape them to the fridge. In one, she is grinning at a cardboard box like it is the best toy in the world. When Lily turns 1, we host a simple party at home. Teresa bakes a cake with pale frosting and tiny stars. My friend from the unit brings balloons. My parents decline the invite. I write Ava another letter and tuck it into a box with Lily first. Socks the folded note and a printed photo of the cake. I do not know if Ava will ever read any of it. I only know that one day Lily will have a record that tells the truth. I work and we grow. I reduce my shifts to balance daycare pickup and naps. I add a small telehealth block 2 evenings a week after Lily falls asleep. The extra income is modest, but it covers therapy when Lily is older and needs a safe place to talk about big feelings. I open a savings account in her name and set up an automatic transfer of $50 a month. It is not much, but it means momentum. By the time Lily is 3, our routines feel like home. Her favorite stuffed bunny goes everywhere. She builds towers with blocks and knocks them down to see how they fall. She is curious and stubborn and funny. She mishears Nora as Nana and calls me that for a long time. I answer to it every time. As she gets older, she switches to Mom without fanfare. Both names feel true. One belongs to the start. One belongs to now. The pattern with my parents does not change. My mother delivers comments that feel like tiny cuts. She says Lily should be in ballet like the other girls on our street. She brings a tutu, 2 sizes too small. Lily wants dinosaurs and blocks. My father asks about Ava and then goes quiet when I say I have no updates. No one mentions the night they told me the baby was my burden. I stop expecting an apology. I stop expecting help. I keep doing what I know. I chart, I save. I learn the Austin ISD rules about student privacy and volunteers. I read the Texas Family Code sections on best interests of a child. I learn that facts matter more than volume. I learn to make a binder for anything that might one day matter. School records go into a blue binder. Medical and therapy records go into green. Incidents and policies go into red. Finances go into white. I do not know yet that these colors will steady me later. I only know that order lowers my heart rate. I close the loop with Mason quietly. After the night he refused to help, the next week brings a short call. He says this is not the life he pictured. I say I understand. We do not meet again. I pack his few things into a box and send it to his office. I do not add a note. I do not need one. We move through holidays and seasons. We go to the local library on Saturday mornings. We plant marigold seeds in cups on the windowsill and watch them sprout. We visit the small splash pad in summer. I take videos and label them by date. I make a simple memory book with pictures and words that explain our family to Lily in a way she can hold. Some families are made by blood. Some are made by heart. Ours is made by both. There is no room for shame in that sentence. By early 2019, Lily is almost 4. She can write her name in big letters that lean. She asks hard questions about where she came from and why her birth mom left her with me. I tell the truth she can handle. Ava was sick and scared. She made sure you came to me because she knew I would love you. I promise Lily that our home does not change. I tell her that love is not fragile. I say it enough that I hear it echo back to me on hard days. Everything feels stable until my dad calls near the end of March 2019. He says Sunday dinner. He says it is a family reunion. He sounds pleased with himself. I ask who will be there. He says your mother, me, and a surprise. I say, I need to know. He says come and see. Against my better judgment, I agree because Lily loves any dinner that includes rolls and a chance to draw at the table. I mark the date on the calendar. Sunday, April 7th, 2019. I pack crayons and snacks and a small book for the car. I do not know yet that Ava will walk in with a man who introduces himself as a counselor. I do not know yet that they will ask to take Lily from me. I only know we have a dinner at my parents' house and that my almost 4-year-old is excited to show her latest drawing of two people inside a red heart. I buckle her into her seat and tell myself to breathe. The Sunday dinner invitation in April 2000 sets the stage. That is when everything changes. Sunday, April 7th, 2019. I park in front of my parents' house with Lily almost strapped in her booster crayons and a zip bag on her lap. My dad opens the door before I knock. He looks pleased. My mom has set the table like a holiday. I clock the extra place settings and understand there is no surprise there is a reveal. Ava walks in from the kitchen with a man at her shoulder. He offers a careful smile and a firm handshake. I am Trent, he says. I am a counselor. They are visiting from out of state for a few days. My mother adds like she is presenting a guest speaker. Dinner stays polite until dessert. Ava folds her napkin, keeps her eyes on the table, then says the line she came here to say. I am healthy now, married and stable. I want to be Lily's mother again. Trent clears his throat and adds that a child belongs with her mother when possible. My dad nods, my mom nods, the air tilts. I look at Lily on the living room rug, showing Trent her purple crayon. I hear my own voice steady and low. I am her mother. I have been her mother since October 2000. Ava answers without heat. I am the biological mother. We have a house with a yard and a better school district. We have room, we have resources, we have plans. She lists advantages like a brochure. She does not list the nights. She does not list the bottles, the fevers, the shift swaps, the small hands clutching my finger at 2 a.m. I ask for one thing. Do not talk about custody in front of Lily. We can discuss adults only. My mother says children are resilient. My father says we need to be practical. I ask them to please stop. They do not. That is the moment I understand I am in this alone. Not new information, but new clarity. I gather Lily's drawings, thank everyone for the meal, and take my daughter home. In the car, Lily asks if Aunt Ava is her new mom. I say no. I say our home does not change. She says promise. I cross my heart and promise again. That night, Lily wakes from a small nightmare and whispers, do not take me. I hold her hand and watch the red light of the baby monitor glow. I make a decision without drama. I will not argue, chase, or plead. I will prepare. I will be the calmest person in any room. I will build a plan that does not depend on anyone else seeing reason. I start by tightening the circle. I answer fewer family texts. I skip church for a few weeks and take Lily to the park instead. I do not bring her to my parents' house. I do not explain why. It is safer not to test my own boundaries while I am still angry. At work, I ask for a quiet corner during lunch and use it to study. I print the Texas Family Code sections on best interests of the child. I highlight the words stable environment, primary caregiver, and psychological well-being. I print Austin ISD policies on student privacy and filming. I add them to a red binder labeled Policies and Incidents. I keep the binder on a shelf above the microwave so I see it when I make a coffee. Money becomes its own project. I add a second telehealth block on Tuesdays after Lily goes to sleep, 1.5 hours pediatric calls only. By June, I have added $300 a month to savings. By December, I have saved $6,800 for Lily's future and $3,000 for emergencies. I list each deposit in a white binder labeled Finances. I open a high-yield savings account and move the emergency fund there. I set reminders to transfer $50 on the first of every month to Lily's college account. The numbers are not big, but they are forward motion I control. Skills come next. I take a continuing education class called Documentation in High Conflict Custody. $149. I complete PALS recertification early. I shadow our unit educator for 2 weekends to understand how hospital investigators audit charts. I do not tell anyone why this interests me. I only add the certificates to a blue binder labeled Work and Development. I update my resume not because I plan to leave, but because readiness is a form of peace. I also begin a quiet sweep of Ava and Trent's public footprint. They still live out of state in 2019. Their feeds are clean, all morning routines and gratitude lists and two-person yoga poses at sunset. I screenshot any reference to family, even the vague ones about healing old bonds. I save brand partnership posts with dates and captions. I do not share these with anyone. Documentation is not a threat. It is a habit. A week after that dinner, my mom calls to propose a family brunch and mentions that a traditional two-parent home would be best for Lily. I ask her to stop using Lily to make a point. She says, I am being sensitive. I say we are taking a break from family gatherings. She says that is dramatic. I do not rise to the bait. I say, take care, Mom, and end the call. I write the date time and her exact words on a single sheet and slide it into the red binder. But they do not know what I am building. I check in with Lily's pediatrician about her sleep after the dinner. He suggests a bedtime routine and reassurance and says to monitor for persistent anxiety before referring to therapy. I set a routine like a metronome. Bath Books lights down a soft hum of white noise. I tell Lily the same sentence every night. You are safe. Our home does not change. By summer, she stops waking in the night. I note that too. Not every record is about damage. Many are about repair. Mason. The man I dated in 2015 reaches out once by text that summer. Hope you are well? I am. Take care. He does not write again. I do not miss him. I note that not as a jab, but as a benchmark. The life I am building is not a holding pattern. It is an answer. By the end of 2019, I can state my reality in a paragraph of facts. I am Lily's only consistent parent since October 2015. She is almost 4 and thriving. I work day shifts in the pediatric ICU. I add telehealth after bedtime. I keep school and medical records current. I have an emergency fund and a college fund. I know the policies that protect children in schools and in court. When I feel a question rising in my throat, I open a binder instead. That is when everything changes again, slowly at first. Ava begins to grow her audience. She rebrands as Ava Monroe. She leans into wellness, sobriety, and second chances. Trent appears in supportive husband posts. They talk about expanding their family one day. They still do not mention Lily. The more their presence grows, the more I tighten my process. Screenshots with dates, notes on captions, a simple spreadsheet that links a brand announcement to the week they call my mother. No conclusions, only columns. Years tick by in steady lines. Lily starts kindergarten in 2020, first grade into 1, second into 2. We keep Friday movie nights and Sunday park mornings. I accept an interim charge role in the ICU and learn to manage staffing grids. I present a unit in service on trauma-informed care for pediatrics. I apply for the District Health Services Coordinator role in late 2024 and get a call to interview. At home, Lily grows into a curious, resilient kid who paints our porch with water on hot days just to watch it dry like disappearing clouds. In late summer 2024, Ava and Trent move to the Austin area. They buy in Pflugerville with a large mortgage. My parents host a small welcome-back dinner that we do not attend. I keep my lane. I keep my records. I keep my promise to Lily. What happened next shocks everyone, not because I raise my voice, but because I never need to. When the crisis finally arrives, it does not come as a scene. It comes in a certified envelope. In February 2025, the petition lands on my doorstep and starts a 30-day clock. But they still have no idea how prepared I am. The petition arrives in early February 25, a green certified envelope on my mat. I open it at the kitchen table while Lily works on a science worksheet. The clock starts. 30 days. I call a family attorney in Travis County the next morning. Her name is Maya Delgado. I bring a box of records and my timeline. She asks clear questions. She quotes the statute. She tells me we will let the facts do the talking. I sign a retainer for $10,000. I walk out with a list and a schedule. I turn my dining room into a war room. Binders by color and task. Blue for school. Green for medical and therapy. Red for policies and incidents. White for money. I label every spine with a date range. I keep a notepad on the table and write what I did each day. The habit keeps me calm. But they do not know what I am building. Week 1 is proof of daily life. I request attendance logs from parent-teacher meetings. I print emails with teachers about reading goals and art projects. I gather report cards and copies of permission slips with my signature. I ask the school counselor for a summary of Lily progress and concerns. I add each item to the blue binder with a sticky note that lists the date and why it matters. I call Lily therapist and ask for a formal letter. We book additional sessions so the report is current. The cost lands hard. $6,000 across 3 months with a detailed statement for court. I pay it. I add the invoices to the green binder. I remind myself that peace for a child is the only return that matters. I hire a licensed private investigator with digital forensics experience. His name is Evan Brooks. The retainer is $5,000. The estimate is $12,000 in total. I give him a narrow scope. Verify Trent searches related to Lily biological father. Confirm the inheritance timing for Jason Reynolds. Map Ava brand deals against their private outreach to me. Document do not argue. Dates, sources, file names. He nods and gets to work. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. I interview for a district role I have been working toward for years. In January, I receive an offer to serve as the health services coordinator for the district. 14% increase in salary. Better hours. Clear authority. It feels like oxygen. My mother calls the next day. She congratulates me. Then she says this proves Lily should transition to Ava after court because I will be so busy. I log the call. I write her exact words. I say no. I say my work gives me more time with Lily, not less. I end the call and add the sheet to the red binder. The family behavior does not change. Ava and Trent rehearse a story online about healing and reunification. They still avoid saying Lily name, but that's all mate. Be mine. Their move in late summer 2024 put them in Pflugerville with a heavy mortgage. Evan pulls public filings and notes the payment size. The numbers leave little slack. I do not repeat this to anyone. I only file it. That is when everything changes in public. In October 2024, our church holds a fall fundraiser. Ava arrives with a camera-ready smile and a phone on a small stabilizer. She frames a shot toward the kids' area. I step in and remind her that Lily is not content. A media volunteer named Brianna watches the exchange. Later, she emails me behind-the-scenes photos that show Ava staging family-restored images far from the children. I save the note and thank her. I do not post anything. I add the images to the red binder with a policy sheet from the church that protects minors from filming. Then comes the PTA art night at Lily's school in early February 2025. Ava and Trent walk in with a gimbal and talk to the phone about reunification. I do not raise my voice. I open the Austin ISD policy on my phone and read the line that bars filming students for personal content. The assistant principal steps over and backs me up. Two parents are standing close enough to hear every word. Trent starts to argue, then stops. Ava lowers the phone. They leave without a post. I print the policy and a short email from the assistant principal that confirms the reminder was given. I file both. 3 days later, Evan forwards an email from a brand manager to Ava team that suspends a planned wellness campaign. The note cites material discrepancies in public narrative. It is not for public use. Maya marks it as context only. We do not smear anyone. We document patterns. Evan work begins to form a clean arc. In July and August 2024, Trent runs searches for Jason Reynolds. In September and October, he schedules 2 consults with a paternity lawyer. The subject lines mention paternity and trust considerations. In the same window, probate filings show Jason receives an inheritance of about $3.2 million from his grandfather. In November, Ava messaging to me becomes warm and frequent. By December, they are in Austin full-time. I ask Evan for a single page that stacks those dates in order with sources. He delivers a table with file paths and timestamps. No color, no opinions, just dates. I file a complaint with the Texas Counseling Board 2 weeks before the hearing. I keep it short. I attach a sequence of exhibits. School policy reminders that were ignored. Statements under oath that conflict with documents. Public content that frames a custody push as a healing story for brand value. I do not use adjectives. I list facts and I ask the board to review. Within a few weeks, they acknowledge receipt and open a preliminary file. I place the notice in the red binder and move on. Money becomes real math. By the week before court, legal fees reach $45,000. The PI total is just under $12,000. I take a small personal loan with a clear payoff plan. I set a reminder to revisit the budget after this is over. I write the totals on a single page in the white binder. Balances, due dates, contact names. I slide the page into a clear sleeve so I can see it without opening anything. It keeps fear from driving. My parents try one more time to pull me into a compromise meeting. Gordon calls and suggests we meet for dinner to discuss a smoother path where Lily spends most of her time with Ava right away. I thank him for the invite and say no. I put a short note in the binder with the date and time. I go for a walk with Lily and count porch lights instead. I refine the record. Each binder gets a table of contents. Each document has a page number in the bottom right corner. I keep a master index on my laptop and on a small flash drive in my purse. I prepare a sealed packet for court. Inside are the timelines, the emails, the policies, the invoices, the brand. Notice the probate references and the notes that show my parents knew more than they swore. I check every source line twice. I lay out the pages in order on the table until the story is a straight line anyone can follow. But they still do not know what sits inside that folder. They still believe the loudest voice will win. The hearing date arrives like a steady drum. I iron a navy suit and pack the binders into a rolling case. I drop Lily at her art teacher house with a hug and a whispered promise that our home does not change. I pick up the sealed packet, feel the weight in my hand, and breathe. The courtroom doors open. What happens next shocks everyone, not because I speak louder, but because the record speaks for me. March 7th, 2025, I wheel a case of binders through the doors of Travis County Family Court. I wear a navy suit that holds its shape. I leave Lily with her art teacher for a day of paint and quiet far from echoes. Maya meets me in the hallway with a small nod. We have rehearsed the facts, we have rehearsed the order, we have not rehearsed outrage, we will not need it. The courtroom is bright with glass and slow air. Ava and Trent sit across the aisle. Ava wears a floral dress that signals softness. Trent wears a fitted suit with a still face. My parents sit behind them. My mother clutches her purse. My father looks at the clock and nods at me. The judge enters and calls the case. She explains that the best interests of the child control the day. She asks counsel to proceed. Ava testifies first. She tells a story of recovery and renewal. She says she has been sober for years. She says she is ready to be a mother. Her voice trembles at practice moments. She speaks about a house with a yard, a quiet street, and a plan for school. She does not say Lily name. She says, my daughter. The words hang like a frame that does not fit the picture. Trent follows. He describes their 4-bedroom home in Pflugerville and the school ratings he has printed. He talks about a college fund and family vacations. He says a child belongs with her mother when possible. He folds his hands and looks at the judge like he is delivering a treatment plan. He does not mention the policy reminders at the art night. He does not mention the camera in his hand. My parents speak next. My mother says she tried to be involved, but I made it difficult. She says I have always been stubborn. My father says blood is blood. He says I have done my duty, and now it is time to return the child to her mother. He keeps his eyes on the table. He does not look at the blue binder that holds every school form I have signed for 10 years, and the record that keeps a child safe when stories bend. Late summer, Ava texts coffee alone. She arrives without props. I left Trent, she says. I'm sorry, I want to be in Lily's life as a birth mother, not a rival. I don't promise. I ask about therapy, rules. She says yes to both. I take it to Maya. We map a narrow open adoption plan under Texas law. I remain legal parent. Supervised visits with therapist-guided expansion. No filming, no brand mentions, no public reunification claims. Everything in writing notarized. The therapist builds a calendar, approves in a letter. We sign at a small notary office. No audience. Working peace. Trent's board issues a temporary suspension pending review. The church reads its new guidelines. The HOA confirms the interim role. I send my parents a neutral update. Supervised visits resume in November, 1 hour twice a month. No content props, no talk of moving homes. Life shifts to rhythm. I take a district health role, train staff on child privacy and documentation, pay down the legal loan, keep the binders current. Lily turns 10 2 friends, a grocery store cake, a movie at home. She keeps the cat drawing from that first supervised visit. Names settle where they belong. Visits stay quiet. Later we add 15 minutes and 1 park hour with a caseworker. My parents see Lily want it supervised and keep it plain. After Lily asks for tacos. We eat, talk about school and the winter parade's marching band. Anger wants to be loud. Documentation wants to be clear. Clear wins. By spring, I present on student privacy. My last slide, calm, is a form of power. A nurse says she now knows how to build her own binders, worth every long night. Our family has a new shape. Ava rents smaller posts, less lives more. Trent is outside the circle. My parents learn the line and stay on their side. The room cools 5 degrees. This was never revenge, it's respect enforced by facts. Draw the line. Write it down, defend it calmly. You don't need a speech when you have a record. You don't need perfect, just daily showing up and keeping receipts. If you've been the quiet builder, tell your story. Someone needs your map. Silence doesn't always mean weakness. Sometimes silence is the way to prepare quietly. Record every detail and build a truth file strong enough to protect yourself and your loved ones. In battles for justice, especially those involving family emotions, can be weaponized, but evidence is not. You don't need to shout when you have a solid page-by-page record. If it were you, would you choose to confront immediately or secretly prepare for many years to have a decisive blow in one go?